Hi, CC families. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry I forgot to send this review. After we left class on Wednesday, it literally out of sight, out of mind, and I had a couple of really long days at the massage studio, and it just dawned on me today that I never sent it, so my apologies. For our review for week 21, what we did with new grammar for math, the associative law of addition. And what we did was a really simple song with some simple hand motions. The associative law for addition states, open parentheses, A plus B, closed parentheses, plus C equals A plus open parentheses, B plus C, close parentheses. Then the associative law for multiplication, very similar tune, but instead of our open arms, we did ninja X's. The associative law for multiplication states, open parentheses, A times B, closed parentheses, times C equals A times open parentheses, B times C, close parentheses. Then for geography, we learned our Native American regions. I made a special map besides our traditional CC maps for the younger kids. So it lists each of the regions on there color-coded, and we took our expo markers and we outlined each region as we said the words. So I will include this in the attachment as well. Then we went on to Latin, and for Latin, we did a fun one because we traced John, the name John. Latin for this week was John 1:6, and the Latin is cui nomen erat Johannes, whose name was John. So we traced whose name was John 6 different times with our expo marker. And these were sent home for your kids as well as the plastic sheets. So those are for your practice. From there, we went on to English, and we used Jill Quinlan's song, Mrs. Quinlan's song, that was wonderful for our subordinate clause. And it went a little something like this. A subordinate clause, also known as a dependent clause, does not express a complete thought and cannot stand alone. And for that, we used our exercise blocks. The burpees continued to be a fan favorite, so we got sweaty doing a lot of those. From there, we moved on to our science, and we also used Mrs. Quinlan's song about the theory of evolution. And the question is, what does the theory of evolution rely on? The answer, the theory of evolution relies on the belief that life began as a chance combination of non-living things. And her voice is far more beautiful than mine, so I will attach her song in the email as well for you to practice and review. From there, we went on to history, and this was a really fun one because the history song is Tell Me About U.S. Astronauts, and it's very ethereal and space-like. So we did some very basic hand motions where we traced a 6 and a 9 in the air. And I'll try to do these backwards so that it makes sense for you. So in 1969, U.S. astronauts Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin were the first men to walk on the moon. So big strong arms for Armstrong. We stirred our cauldron for Edwin Aldrin, and then we did a really crazy moonwalk for the first to walk on the moon. Then lastly, we went to CC timeline, and we stuck with our hand motions, our traditional sign language for that. So for that, we had World War II and President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And there were a lot of signs for this, so I scaled it way back. World War II and Franklin D. Roosevelt. The F and the R. Piece of cake. Then we had Stalin with our mustache, Stalin of the USSR, and the captain, one hand up and we poke, like we're poking with a sword, massacre. Stalin of the USSR and the captain, massacre. Sorry, I'm referring to my notes as well. The United Nations formed, like our chain link, United Nations formed the Cold War. The Cold War. Gandhi, we make our G, Gandhi, and India's independence. Jewish state established. We stroke a beard like traditional Jewish monarchs. Jewish state established. Then for our last one, you make an M, so it's 3 fingers over your thumb, Mao, Mao, and communist victory in China. I know you can't see my hip, but shoulder, shoulder, hip. Mao and communist victory in China. And that was it. We had a wonderful time learning about Debussy with orchestra. The kids did a wonderful job with their active listening with their whole bodies. We talked about ascending sounds and descending sounds and how very much music can make us feel certain things and sound different ways. The kids did wonderful with that. And for hands-on science, we continued with probability and talked about combinations with our pizza exercise. And they learned that if you're given 3 different toppings, you can have a total of 7 different combinations of those toppings. You can have 3 one-topping pizzas, olives, pepperoni, mushrooms. You can have 3 2-combination pizzas, olives and mushrooms, olives and pepperoni and mushrooms. And then you can have 1 3-topping combination where all 3 olives, pepperonis, and mushrooms are included. The kids did fantastic, and those really cute pizza crafts should have been sent home with you as well. Thank you again for the opportunity to serve you and your kids. I really enjoy it. We're excited to see you guys next week when Mrs. Rhodes returns. Happy Easter and be well.